Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Tim, back once again for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where qualifying is almost finished. Currently watching our provisional pole sitter at the moment of MDJ. Take a look at our tires here so we know who is and who is not on a flying lap. MDJ on his flying lap. And then behind him, we have ALB Alp in P2 with the 140.435. He is just now starting his flying lap. Then Cassidy in P3, Rage Hunter and Luke Bailey, your top five, with Sonic Hawk in P6. A good showing from Sonic Hawk today. Good to see him in here with us, and I'm in just in time. Has a time of 141.1 in P7. Mansell in 8th, Calvin in 9th, Cabrinicon P10, but unfortunately having some issues there. Then Maddie Xander rounding out the rest of the field. Martin not able to even start his qualifying. Now, bear with me here for just a moment, guys. I do need to go over to a party. A little bit of technical difficulties on my end. And my apologies for that, but MDJ a 139.491. So further solidifying his fast lap on the top of the board. Can Alb do anything with it? Down the long straightaway, we'll see what his time is going to be. On board with the Alfa Romeo, so you can get a nice sense of the speed that you're carrying down this straightaway here. As he crosses the line, Alb, does he go quicker? He goes quicker, but not quick enough. A 139.917. Looks like those are the only drivers that are on a flying lap at the moment. A lot of drivers, though, expect them to come out here in just a second. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. Now's about the time to where they start to make any final adjustments and go out there trying to get that fast lap, waiting for the optimal level of grip to be laid down on this racetrack. Of course, I say racetrack. Maybe I should say street course instead. But regardless, whenever Formula One is in town, it certainly is a racetrack. Make no mistake about that. And a lot of chaotic races has been decided here in the real-life Formula One. And there you see Alb actually validating that lap. Of course, don't think he was going for another flying lap, likely just going back to the pits. But we'll go ahead and take a look at Mansell now, who is on a flying lap. His best lap time, a 141.3 thus far, but he is in the first sector. About to enter the second sector now. Mansell needing a good time, needs a good finish. Got a podium earlier on in the season, but overall has had a bit of a lackluster season. And while Mansell is on his flying lap, we will update you on the point standings. Rage Hunter still at the top spot, 148 points. That is, of course, after a second place last week. Then MDJ in second, Calvin Racing dropping down to third, and he is tied with third for Mansell. So Mansell, he is fairly high up in the points, you know, very much challenging Calvin for that third position and a couple of podiums on the season. But there is a couple of DNFs there too and low scoring points days. So even though points are important, obviously, the higher you finish, the more points you get, the easier it's going to be to win a championship. Not sure if that's really on Mansell's radar at the moment with just 10 races remaining. Although a top 3 is certainly not out of the question. MDJ, though, I'm sure that a championship is on his radar, with him being just about 16 points back behind Rage Hunter. Now, turning to the constructors, no surprise to anyone that it is Haas at the top spot, a 8 points to 143 for AlphaTauri and Williams in P3. A minute and a half remaining in the qualifying session, and all the drivers coming out for their out laps, about to start their final flying lap. Can anyone challenge MDJ up there on the top spot? A 139.491, absolutely obliterating this track. So Cassidy on a flying lap. Just now going through, the first DRS zone of the lap, since technically the DRS zone on the straightaway starts in the third sector. So through the first DRS zone and then entering the second sector here in just a moment. How does it look for Cassidy in the first sector? So no purple first sector there. Now going through the castle section, very challenging here. But Cassidy, honestly, that was probably one of the cleanest lines I've ever seen somebody take through that sector. So Cassidy really agreeing with Azerbaijan today. It looks like MDJ has retired from the qualifying session, so he's decided that his lap is good enough. Cassidy, though, obviously wanting to challenge MDJ. He's going to have to find a little over a second if he is going to sit on the pole here today. Alb, of course, in the pit, so his day is done. His qualifying has now came to an end. Cassidy and Calvin, a lot of drivers still actually out on the racetrack. We're watching Cassidy at the moment in the third and final sector now. Will he be able to do anything with this? He's starting P3 at the moment with a 140.5, but can he find a little bit more? No, he dives down into the pits and hits the wall. So now watching Calvin, 140.718 is his best lap time. Calvin in the first sector, second sector now, excuse me. So going through the castle section here in just a moment. Calvin racing, of course, like we said, P3 in the standings, tied with Mansell, 95 points each. So whoever finishes in front of the other today will be able to be third in that championship standings, but it's still a long way to go to the end of the season. 10 races remaining. And Calvin in the third and final sector now. As Rage Hunter goes to P3, a 140.460. Where does his Haas teammate put his car? As Luke Bailey goes to P5, a 140.5. Calvin coming down the home stretch, and as he crosses the line, it is going to be not what he was looking for. Oof, a 140.718 is Calvin's best lap time, so P7 is the best that he's going to be able to do here. And it looks like that what you see is what you get. So MDJ is going to be sitting on the pole for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Then Alvin Rage Hunter, your top three. Question is, though, do we have to wait out the clock? Well, I guess we do have to wait out the clock, so it'll be about 43 seconds before... Nope, never mind. There we go. Every time I start talking about waiting out the clock, it seems to fix itself. So maybe I just need to start talking about the clock a little bit more. But your official starting lineup for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series, Azerbaijan Grand Prix, MDJ on the pole, Alvin second, Rage Hunter in third, fourth is Cassidy, Luke Bailey in fifth, I'm Just in Time in sixth, Calvin in seventh, Mansell in eighth, ninth is Sonicok, Cabrincon in 10th, Maddie in 11th, Xander in 12th, Martin in the 13th position. And now we actually do have to wait out that clock. That one is not a skippable clock, unfortunately. But MDJ challenging Rage Hunter for a title with 10 races to go. MDJ starting in first, Rage Hunter starting right behind him in third. So let's see which one's going to get the better jump off of the line and who will prevail here in Azerbaijan at the end of this race. Rage Hunter, of course, him and Calvin, they have one set goal in mind, and that is to win the Constructors title. They are well on their way to doing that. By no means have they clinched the title yet, but they are in the lead. They're looking very good. And meanwhile, Rage Hunter does lead the point standings along with it. Calvin, like I said, in P3, MDJ right in the middle of them. So just waiting for the drivers to choose their strategy, then we will be able to start our formation lap. And there we go. 25 seconds. We'll start the formation lap. Then we'll start the race. We will be green. In Azerbaijan, the championship battle will continue. And, you know, it's been an interesting championship battle up to this point, too, because out of the get-go, it was Rage and Calvin that said they just want the Constructors title. And if any of them are able to solidify the driver's title as well, then that's just a bonus. But most of the time, you get drivers out there, you know, fighting and clawing because their main goal is that driver's title. And sure, Calvin and Rage, it's not like they have given up on the driver's title. It's not like they don't care about it at all. But they understand that they work better as a team, and that's what works for them. So that's why they put so much importance into that Constructors title. But, you know, sometimes you don't have your teammate out there. Look at MDJ. He's in the Alpha Tower. Do you see another Alpha Tower out there? No. MDJ is the only Alpha Tower out there today. He doesn't have a teammate. He can't play the team game. He very much has to go out there in this race and race for himself and only himself, win this race, gain on Rage Hunter so that he can keep himself alive in that championship fight. There's your tire strategy. MDJ and Alb starting on the hards, doing Psychomich things, as we like to say here. And then everyone back from Rage Hunter to Sonicock on the mediums. And then Maddie down to Martin on the mediums. The only driver starting on the softs, Caprinicon. There in P10 in that Alpine. Let's see if it works for him. The soft tires traditionally this season have not gave you the benefit that you really need to make those improvements, but I've seen some drivers make it work. We'll see if Caprinicon can do so here at Azerbaijan. Of course, there's the predicted pit stop strategy. So Caprinicon, it's suggested that he will be going on a 2-stop. Of course, that does depend on how long he can make those soft tires last. Of course, Azerbaijan is a track known for eating tires, and the soft tires will not last very long around here at all. If memory serves me correctly, about 7-ish laps, give or take, is what you might be able to get out of those soft compound tires before they start to really fall off and you lose a lot more time. Granted, with with everybody except him starting on mediums and hards, I am honestly going to say that early pit stop is going to lose him a lot more time than the softer compound is going to gain him. But it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what's going to happen. And we're about to find out. The drivers finding their appropriate positions on the grid, and MDJ will lead them off. And a few drivers having issues finding their grid box, but no worry there. With all the drivers in line, we are ready. You hear those engines revving, you hear those itchy pedal feet, the drivers watching the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Azerbaijan Grand Prix. MDJ and Alb into turn number 1. Alb looking on the inside, has to back out of it though and let MDJ through. Rage Hunter, that opens the door for him to get into P2. Now he's right on the back of his championship competitor. Alb down to 3rd, and then Cassidy, his Alfa Romeo teammate, back there in 4th. Luke Bailey there in the 5th spot. Rage Hunter will ride on board with him. He's looking on the inside of MDJ, but can't do anything with it. Had to have a look, but was too far back. About half a second separating them now. Remember, no DRS until lap 3, so any overtakes that you're going to see here is going to be made on pure pace alone. Look like there's some jostling around for position in the back between Maddie, I'm Just in Time, and Sonicok, who has lost a few positions here on the start, down to P10 now. Meanwhile, Cabrinicon has actually gained a lot of spots up there to P7, but Sonicok, a big cut there, but gets by his Ferrari teammate of Maddie back into P9 as they go through the Casa section. Let's take a look at the Alpine of Cabrinicon. He has really improved his spot massively in just the half lap that we ran here. He started in 10th, he's up to P7. Now, there might have been some issues with some other drivers at the start that might have helped him. Who knows? We'll see, but something's happened to MDJ. What's happened to MDJ? We can't get to him. He spun. MDJ is spun around on his own. Our pole sitter, the fastest car here in qualifying, has spun around, and now he is in P12, not even scoring points at the moment. It happened on the first lap. He's got plenty of time to recover, especially if we got a safety car. But that is a tremendous blow to his championship hopes, especially when you take into consideration that now his competitor is leading this race. Alb rejoins the second position. Luke Bailey in P3. Now, I'm noticing that Alb and MDJ, of course, the only two drivers that started on those hard compound tires. I'm theorizing that MDJ just was not anticipating the lack of grip that the hard compounds had around that corner. So he was so used to using the soft tires that he just gave it a little bit too much throttle, something very easy to do. Got some wheel spin and spun around. Of course, something also happened, Mansell, as you see that he also made a pit stop. So that's a little bit funny as MDJ goes from hard to soft. And I think it was Mansell going from mediums to hard. So it almost switched tires there. Luke Bailey, though, finds himself in P3. So one man's misfortune is another man's gain. Luke Bailey having a good run here so far, but lap 2 of 26, he's going to have to hold on to it for quite a while. But Alb getting very close to our leader of Rage Hunter, right on the back of him there through the Casa section. Rage Hunter looking like he's got better straight line speed, though. So he is gaining on Alb down this little stretch. I'd say that Alb wishes that DRS was active right now. Of course it's not. Of course it's about to be, however. So, out of turn 2, Alb might have an opportunity to get by Rage Hunter. Right now he's a little bit far back, but you see he's using that slipstream to his advantage, really gaining on Rage Hunter. And almost close enough to have a move going into turn 1, but now DRS should be active, and Alb, with all that time that he was able to gain down the front straightaway, can now set himself up for a pass on Rage Hunter. Might still be a touch far back. It all depends on the exit out of this corner. All the same, the DRS is going to be very beneficial to him, and it will help him stick close with Rage Hunter. But there you see Rage Hunter possibly using some ERS there. So some battery assistance maybe from Rage Hunter, because you saw how much he really gained just all of a sudden, and he was likely anticipating Alb to use that DRS zone to his advantage. So Rage Hunter saved his battery for these first 3 laps, then deployed. At least that's my theory. And you know, you can really watch and tell when a driver has decided to save or when a driver has decided to deploy. And of course, as you know, the flashing lights on the back of the car, well, that means that your battery is pretty much bye-bye. So there's these little cues that you can use when you're watching the race, and that drivers use when they're watching the other cars, that can help them pick and choose when the best time is to make a move. Now look at Alb really getting a big run here. Now I do anticipate Rage to use the same trick again, but Alb will have some DRS down the straightaway. But if Rage truly does have better straight line speed than Alb, then this could really be detrimental to the Alfa Romeo. However, one thing we got to remember, Rage Hunter's on mediums, Alb is on the hard tires, so Alb can be able to extend that first stint longer, but it doesn't matter. He goes by Rage Hunter down the front straightaway. We have a new leader, the Alfa Romeo of Alb, as he takes the lead into turn number 1 away from Rage Hunter. Rage Hunter, though, going to try to go back on the offensive. Maybe he'll be able to get by him into turn number 3. Let's see what he can do here. He's right on the back of the Alfa Romeo. He's going to have the DRS. We're right on board with him. Al pulling away half a second between those drivers. Rage Hunter really not able to gain on his competitor there. So for now, Alb seems at least somewhat safe up there in the lead. Luke Bailey has actually been able to join this battle while these two drivers were fighting it out. MDJ running the fastest lap now on those soft tires. Still in P12. I'd say that he is really hoping for a safety car. So MDJ, Calvin, going into this race, they were tied for third. So as the race finishes as it is now, obviously Calvin would be holding on to that third spot here, but he was having a little bit of a battle here with Luke Bailey. Luke Bailey was briefly close enough to Rage Hunter for DRS. Now it's more so Calvin close enough to Luke Bailey. But Luke Bailey, of course, trying to get away from the Haas teammate of Rage. And that's really an interesting spot to be for Luke Bailey, right in the middle of the two Haas cars. However, Rage Hunter has got a battle for the lead on his hands, while Calvin is just trying to get there into the podium spots. There is Rage Hunter, and there you see Al just ahead of him, a full second now. So I think I was wrong earlier. Rage Hunter does not have the better straight line speed. It's looking like right now that Al is one of the fastest, if not the fastest overall car on this track. Now, Rage Hunter really gained massively into turn number one there. Of course, you saw that Al went a little bit wide as well. That did do Rage Hunter a few favors, but the exits is where that Alfa Romeo is the strongest, and that's really where you need to be strong on these tracks with the long straightaways. You need to have a good exit, and you need to have that good top speed. 3 cars in a line with the 4th one trailing behind. I'm just in time, P5, somewhat in a land of his own, except he's got the boss man breathing down his neck trying to get into the top 5. Sonic struggling to really get the power down out of these corners, it feels like. But able to stick with time just in time. Meanwhile, Calvin Racing really closing the gap in on Luke Bailey. Let's see if he's going to have any opportunity into this next DRS zone. What Calvin can do here. He's 0.6 of a second back. Normally that is not enough to make a move on your competitor ahead. And actually, I think that Luke Bailey might have gotten some DRS from Rage Hunter as well. So Calvin just stuck in a chugga-chugga choo-choo train here at Azerbaijan, unfortunately for him. And, you know, we've talked about it every single week, these DRS trains. It's such a struggle because there's very little that you can do to break that. Unless you're just so much faster than one of the guys ahead of you, there's very, very little that you can do to actually break out of that DRS chain. You really just have to ride and take whatever opportunities and advantages that you can and hope that something works or hope that your competitors make a mistake. But one thing I'm noticing, though, is it seems as though clean air very much benefits drivers around here. And of course, that would make sense. But Alb, he's got nice clean air. In Rage Hunter, he can always get right to the back of him, but he can never actually seem to get around him. And then we go back here to Luke Bailey, who really doesn't have clean air, but we'll call it sometimes clean-ish air. So then you see the same issue with Calvin, to where he gets to the back of the Aston Martin, but really struggles to make a move. And for that matter, Luke Bailey is able to get somewhat close to Rage Hunter, then struggles to make a move. But Luke Bailey in general, it seems as though he's just struggling to maintain his overall pace. He's certainly got a top 5 car here, maybe a top 3 car, but he is struggling to keep Calvin behind him at the moment. and he's struggling even more to catch Rage Hunter. Of course, I think he might have had a little bit of a moment out of that corner just a couple of corners ago. Right before the, that's very specific, right before the DRS zone. So it looks like we're having actually a 3-car battle now for this P3 spot. I want to watch the battle for the lead, but as you can see on the leaderboard there, it's really not much of a change. Rage Hunter with DRS, but not able to make any significant gains. So I'm Just in Time has caught the back of Calvin. And look at Sonicok, the boss man. So this has turned into a 4-car battle for the podium, and Luke Bailey is leading this train of cars. And now Cabrinicon is out of the session. So he had an issue in qualifying. Now he's got an issue in the race. And we have, I think, a safety car. Yes, a safety car. So this does a world of favors for MDJ. And MDJ also just pitted for fresh hard tires, and he has already satisfied the 2 compound requirement. So now it's just open season for him. He can go to whatever compound that he wants, whichever one that he thinks is going to give him the best chance to do well in this race. I theorize, though, that he is going to stay out and not worry about pitting under the safety car period. Now, whether or not he's going to be able to gain many positions from that, I'm not sure. He is going to be able to pass the safety car, as we are watching now, actually. So there goes MDJ, and he should be able to catch the safety car Q, which means that he's able to run a little bit faster, I think, than the other cars on track, if I'm not mistaken there. So this is going to benefit him. However, he's still nowhere near close enough to pass that pack of cars up front. So unfortunate for MDJ, he still will be at the back of the field, but I guess he had to give it a go. Theoretically, though, if Mansell pitted, which I don't think he would, but if he did, MDJ might be able to gain the position there. All the same, MDJ will at least have DRS when it's active after the safety car restart. Now you saw Haas actually doing a double stack there, so it really hurt Calvin. But MDJ, he's back in the race. He's got a chance, and that is important for the championship battle. It's important for his championship battle. I say it as a fan, but he's going to be saying it as a driver. So our first safety car of the night. And I expect us to go back racing about lap 10, so that will give us about 17 laps of racing remaining. Alb has definitely been the strongest car of the entire race. MDJ sit on the pole, had issues lap 1 when he spun. Then it was between Alb and Rage Hunter for that lead. Alb eventually, of course, taking the lead from Rage Hunter. Now, one thing I'm noticing here, though, is that Alb on those medium tires, I don't think he's going to be able to really take those to the end. We saw in the predicted pit strategy that you're going to see the medium tires last about 11 laps. So Alb on the medium tires after only lap 8 is really not sitting in a good spot here. His strategy of starting on the hards and then going to the mediums relied heavily on this race going green for a long time. That did not happen. Now this does help Rage Hunter because now he's on the hard tires and he should be able to make those tires last to the end. Now this does throw a bit of a monkey wrench into all of these driver strategies, don't get me wrong, but it's really looking like Alb is in a terrible position, except for Mansell, who is in P11 with soft tires. Of course, I'm sure that Mansell is banking on another safety car, and that is quite possible we could see another safety car here. So, if we do, that could, of course, save Alb's race and save Mansel's race. Anticipating the safety car to come in this time, now that all the cars have found the safety car queue. 12 cars remaining in this 13-car field today. Lap 9 of 26 should be lap 10 of 26 when we go back green. So Al, Rage Hunter, Luke Bailey, your top 3, Calvin Sonicock. Your top 5, Cassidy, I'm Just in Time, Martin, Maddie, and Xander. Your top 10 with Mansell and MDJ, the rest of the field. Now I'd say that this safety car definitely helped Luke Bailey. We saw him struggling there to keep Calvin behind him. So really, it doesn't seem as though the picture's changed all that much. Calvin's still right behind Luke Bailey. All the same, a fresh set of Dr. Feelgoods just might help Luke Bailey in his race. He's definitely got a top 5 car here today, but he is wanting something more. At least a podium, definitely a win. But only one driver can stand on the top spot of that podium at the end of the race. We're about to find out who it's going to be. Lap 9 of 26, about to be lap 10. Al's going to be the control car. He gets to decide when we go back racing, as long as it's before the start-finish line. Let's see what kind of a jump he's going to get on Rage Hunter. Rage Hunter is ready. Now remember, Alb is going to be quick at the start with those medium tires, but we saw how quickly Alb was able to catch Rage on the hard tires. Let's see if Rage has the same luck on the compound. Alb toying with Rage Hunter, and this is painstakingly slow because it's such a long straightaway. Rage Hunter, you see him getting very, very impatient, but Alb not actually letting him by. And we are green, green, green in Azerbaijan. Alb and Rage Hunter, nose to tail. Luke Bailey very close back to him, but slowly but surely it looks like the two cars are starting to check out, much like they were before the safety car period. We'll watch Luke Bailey here because Calvin is right on the back of him. But look at Alb, he's been able to pull away, and we said he was going to be very, very quick on those medium tires at the start. The question is, though, how long is that going to last? 3 cars battling for second between Rage Hunter, Luke Bailey, and Calvin. Just behind them, Sonicock side by side with Cassidy. Cassidy going to the inside, and Sonicock loses 2 positions, 3 positions there, as I'm Just in Time and Martin gets by. Martin there in the McLaren will ride on board with him as he's chasing I'm Just in Time. I'm Just in Time right on the back and actually gets into the wall chasing Cassidy. Sonicock might have tagged the wall there as well. Not sure if my eyes deceived me or not. Meanwhile, Alb 1.2 seconds ahead of Rage Hunter. Luke Bailey 1.2 seconds behind Rage Hunter. There's MDJ, because for some reason the game wanted us to watch MDJ. Back there in P11, though, and trying to recover as best he can. Looks like Mansell's actually making some moves and trying to get by the boss man here. So side-by-side racing between the Williams and the Ferrari. Mansell going to have a good run on Sonicock, who is a sitting duck on those hard tires. There goes Mansell on the inside. Still a nice side-by-side battle. Sonicock going to try to defend from the Williams, but can't do anything with it. Has to fall back in line. Trying to use the slipstream to get another run on him. Is he going to be able to make a move into turn number 1 on the outside? It's going to be side by side. Mansell versus the boss man and Maddie at the back. All 3 cars keep it clean. Now Maddie trying to get by his teammate. There goes Maddie. Sonicock lets him through. And Mansell with those soft tires really showing us how it's done. We've said all season that the soft tires don't give you the benefit that you expect. Well, maybe that does not hold true here at Azerbaijan. Mansell has certainly made it work, or at least that time around. So there's Rage Hunter in P2. You see just ahead of him, Alb there in P1. Alb still very much in command of this race. I am a little bit concerned, though, with him being on those medium tires. I don't expect him to be able to make them last to the end of the race, at least not in any competitive form. While Rage Hunter on the hard tires should be able to go to the end. So Alb is really going to be banking on another safety car here to save his race. All the same, all he can do now is just continue to drive, build that gap. He knows he's going to have to pit again. Luke Bailey, though, getting a little bit closer here to Rage Hunter for P2. Briefly was within that DRS range. Of course, no DRS yet, but it is very important that these drivers keep in that DRS range, because you can't let a driver get out further than a second ahead of you. Otherwise, it's going to be that much harder to run them back down and pass them. And there, DRS is enabled, so Luke Bailey should have DRS when they come out of turn number 2. He's got to stay close to Rage Hunter, though, and this might be his opportunity. Rage Hunter nowhere near Alb, so he'll be a sitting duck to Luke Bailey, and they have even tires, so it's going to be all about pace and that DRS. Luke Bailey 0.5 of a second behind, using the DRS to his advantage and trying to use that slipstream as well. He should gain on him a little bit, as you see there, but he got a bad exit, so he has to stay behind Rage Hunter. No way he could have made a move that time. Cassidy, though, trying to get close to Calvin, not able to do anything with him there. A little bit better luck, though, 0.6 of a second when it was all said and done. Meanwhile, Alb has increased his lead to 3.5 seconds ahead of Rage Hunter. Alb knowing what he has to do to get that gap as big as possible. In the event of a safety car, he can pit and not lose as much time. But the battle you're watching on your screen is for second between Rage Hunter and Luke Bailey. Luke Bailey flirting with that DRS range. Really needs to pick up the pace here if he's going to get the DRS down the front straightaway. It's close, 0.8 of a second, but we've seen Rage Hunter have much better exits than this Aston Martin. Is it going to work for Luke Bailey? He's trying everything that he can. He is gaining on Rage Hunter, and he might have done just enough. There's the DRS detection zone. He is 0.8 of a second behind Rage Hunter, so he is going to get the DRS. Will he be able to make a move? Likely not. But keeping that DRS is the first half of the battle. Very close to Rage Hunter now, 0.3 of a second. If he can get a good run out of turn 2, we could see a move here for P2. But Rage Hunter, he's been fast all day long. Second fast car, second only to Alb, both on track and in speed. Luke Bailey DRS again, a little bit closer this time around. Still not going to be able to make a move, but maybe slowly but surely Luke Bailey is figuring out this car and figuring out what he can do to get by Rage. Cassidy very close to Calvin, not able to do anything with it. I'm just in time, joining the mix as well. 3-car battle for the 4th spot. Cassidy looking on the inside of Calvin. Going to be the outside, then the inside. Once again, this is the preferred line around this sector of the racetrack. Will Cassidy be able to make it work? No, he doesn't. He spins into the wall after contact with Calvin. So Cassidy definitely not happy with that there. He spins the car back around. So Calvin holds on to P4. Luke Bailey in P3 will rejoin this battle for second place between Rage Hunter and Luke Bailey. So Cassidy definitely not going to be happy with what transpired there. We're going to see him likely come into the pits. Might have had some wing damage on that Alfa Romeo, so while his teammate leads, he is rounding out the bottom of the field. Luke Bailey going to have another go at Rage Hunter. Might actually have an opportunity to make a move here. Half a second back at the DRS detection zone. So that rear wing is wide open. And the added benefit of a longer straightaway means longer time to make a move. He's going to have a go on the inside, and he is alongside him side by side, racing here into turn 1 at Azerbaijan. The only problem is Luke Bailey might have made a crucial mistake there. Rage Hunter is going to be able to get by him possibly at the end of this DRS stretch. Rage Hunter is certainly gaining on him, but is he going to be able to make the move. No, Luke Bailey kicking it into high gear, so Rage Hunter perhaps struggling, losing some speed here now. Meanwhile, Alb is now 6 seconds ahead of these two cars. Alb very quick on the medium compound tire, lap 14 of 26, just 12 laps remaining. Rage Hunter still trying to give chase to Luke Bailey, while his teammate is having a solid day back there in P4. Of course, Calvin has been trying to no avail to catch that podium all day long. Rage Hunter briefly held the lead after MDJ spun, but then Alb took it back, and he hasn't looked back, even though he might have to soon because he has got medium tires. Of course, Luke Bailey, Rage Hunter, I expect them to take them to the end. Alb, I'm not so sure. I am watching the time interval, though, and it does seem as though Alb still does have decent pace, 6.9 seconds, so he's gaining approximately 1 second per lap, from what I can tell, at least from last lap to this lap. But now you actually see the time coming down a little bit there. Question is, though, when will those tires give up the ghost? We're still watching the battle for P2, Luke Bailey and Rage Hunter. Let's ride on board with Rage Hunter. Let's see what he sees, or at least thereabouts. Perhaps we can really analyze just what Luke Bailey is doing versus Rage, and see if we can see what Rage is thinking. Where would the best overtaking opportunity be? Obviously, in one of the DRS zones, that's going to be your best stop, your best chance. But as I've mentioned, Luke Bailey seems weak on the exits, while Rage Hunter seems quite strong. That time, though, Rage Hunter really struggling on the exit. Now this time, what does Rage do? Really flooring it, but struggling to get the grip. It just sounds like he can't quite get the throttle down like he wants to. He's just not getting the grip off the corners. Now he will have DRS on Luke Bailey, and that will be enough to get him somewhat close to the Aston Martin. I don't think we're going to be seeing an overtaking at turn number 1, though. Lap 16 of 26 now, and Alb is 7.2 seconds ahead. So now Alb is starting to slow down, whether that is strategic or tires, who's to say. Luke Bailey might start gaining on Alb before too long. And MDJ running the fastest lap, and he is P8 now. MDJ in P8 on those medium tires, so that will give him a point for the fastest lap if he's able to maintain a top 10 position and maintain the fastest lap to the end of this race. Now we're seeing a few drivers make some pit stops here. Some drivers going on the soft tires. Maddie making that pit stop. Of course, like I said, the safety car really did kind of throw a monkey wrench into the strategy for some of these drivers. So at this point, it seems to just about be not so much of a strategy game, so much as just who got a little bit lucky. But like I'm saying, though, I do believe that Alb is going to have to pit sooner rather than later. And the drivers that started on the mediums and went to the hards, that early safety car really benefited them because Alb's strategy was dependent on a long green flag stretch. So let's check in with our leader. There he is, just now exiting turn 2. And there is second and third, exiting turn 2. So approximately the length of the straightaway between turn 2 and turn 3 is the distance between Alb and Luke Bailey, 8.2 seconds approximately. So Alb is still continuing to gain on Luke Bailey, and once again continuing to gain approximately 1 second per lap. MDJ, another fastest lap, a 142.4. Let's take a look at MDJ as he's trying to storm through the field here. He's got Cassidy behind him, though Cassidy might just have something to say about that fastest lap on those soft compound tires, but he's got 3 laps on them, and he hasn't been able to run the fastest lap yet. So without added assistance from MDJ with that DRS, I don't think it's going to happen for Cassidy. All the same, MDJ, he's just fighting tooth and nail for whatever he can get. He was the pole sitter, he spun on lap 1, and it's been a constant recovery game ever since. And you got to remember, he is in a championship battle with Rage Hunter. He's only 16 points out of the lead entering this race. Now, if they finish the way that they do, that gap is going to increase. But the more points MDJ can scrape up around here, the less hurtful it's going to be to his championship hope. He's got 10 races remaining, counting this one, of course, so 9 after today. That's plenty of time for MDJ to recover, especially considering that he should theoretically still be within 1 race after today, if he's able to finish where he is. And that is, of course, assuming that Rage Hunter himself does not win the race. Rage Hunter running P3 right now, as you see him there, still battling with Luke Bailey, but not able to get by him. Of course, part of me also wonders if Rage Hunter is really even trying to get by Luke Bailey that much, because we've seen it all day long, these cars just following one another, and it's not really going to benefit you or your tires or your race to put yourself at risk and constantly try to pass the guy just for them to pass you in the next DRS zone or the next lap on a DRS zone. So sometimes it's best to just ride behind your competitor and understand that you got a long race to go. It's not about being there right now, it's about being there at the end. So you just have to keep yourself out there and keep yourself alive in the race and in contention to be there at the end. As we let the battle play out for a little bit and we let you enjoy the sights and sounds of Azerbaijan, Rage Hunter still trying to chase Luke Bailey. Lap 19 and 26, though, we're rounding down to the final few laps of this race, and you know, I'm starting to think that maybe I was wrong about those medium tires, and that maybe, just maybe, Alb will be able to make them last to the end. 9.7 seconds separating him and Luke Bailey now. So it's been very much of the same, though, between Luke Bailey and Rage Hunter here. And really it's been much the same with Rage Hunter the entire race, to where he's just been chasing somebody most of the time. Now something has happened to Cassidy. What's happened to Cassidy? Is that going to bring out a safety car? No, actually. It looks like he has retired in the pits. So a retirement in the pits for Cassidy, no safety car. Lap 19 of 26, and we are nearing the end of this race as Maddie makes another pit stop, as you can see there on your map in that red Ferrari. And for the briefest of moments, it actually made me think that it was Alb, your leader, but it is not. He is still on the racetrack, as we'll look right now, and he is not only on the racetrack, he is bypassing the pit entrance, so no pit stop for Albon. You know, at this point, with 6 laps to the end, and with you having a 9.8 second lead, it doesn't matter what the tires are doing. You know he's staying out there. He's made his bed, he's committed, now he's got to lay in it. Of course, I'm starting to also think that I was wrong about the tire compounds. And wow, imagine that, the commentator being wrong about the tire compounds. All the same, Alb's making it work. Luke Bailey trying, but to no avail. At this point, though, Luke Bailey seems like he might just be happy with the podium. Rage Hunter, of course, you know what he's out there for. Points, points, and more points. 3rd place, definitely a good haul of points. But it's still not over, and he's still got an opportunity to get by Luke Bailey. Ten seconds now, the gap between Alb and Luke Bailey. And Rage Hunter still just riding behind Luke Bailey, but I do believe that Rage Hunter at this point is possibly trying to conserve his battery, build up that battery for a late race charge on Luke Bailey. Of course, this is not Rage's first rodeo. It's not Luke's either, so both of them know exactly what they need to do to maintain their respective positions. Of course, this is the only battle going on track at the moment. Rage Hunter with a small run on Luke Bailey, but nothing coming of it, as I'm just in time making a pit stop after 13 laps on this hard tires. So I'm just in time, perhaps going for the fastest lap here. But he lost a lot of positions in doing so. Not sure why he'd want to go for the extra bonus point when you're losing multiple in the process. Of course, perhaps I'm just in time, had some issues and had no choice but to pit. We sadly did not see it, but he rejoins this race in P9 at the moment. Looks like he'll be able to hang on to that. Matty pretty far back himself. And now Luke Bailey is starting to close the gap quite significantly to Alb, 9.2 seconds. Could we maybe see a 3-car battle for the lead to finish this off? Alb, he started on the hard tires, and then when a safety car came out on lap 8, he had to pit for the mediums. A little bit too early for his taste, and a little bit too early for his tires taste as well. However, up to this point, Alb had started to gain on Rage Hunter quite significantly, gaining almost 1 second a lap approximately. Now we see Luke Bailey eating away at that gap. Now is the turning point for those medium tires to start falling off. And now's about the time where the hard tires should be kicking into high gear. Actually, that point should have already happened with 14 laps on those hard compounds. So Luke Bailey has been able to run some decent laps for a couple laps now, eating away at the gap, while Alb has been struggling to keep the grip. Now we'll watch Alb now. So there's Alb, and we can't quite see Luke Bailey behind him yet on screen. Of course, we're not going to be able to see how much the tires have worn, but we might be able to see how slowly he's exiting these corners versus Luke Bailey. So we saw how slow he went through the castle section. Now let's see Luke. Maybe a little bit of just coasting speed that Luke Bailey's able to carry through the castle section, but otherwise the exits were actually very close to where it seems that both Alb and Luke Bailey are trying to take it easy. Of course, that is one of the toughest, actually, that is the toughest sector of this race course. So that's understandable that the drivers would want to take it a little bit easy out of that corner. All the same, it did seem as though Luke Bailey is able to allow that car to coast at a little bit of a faster speed than what Alb is able to do. And that would make sense because obviously you need that tire grip underneath you to be able to send that car into the corner, so to speak. Now, I think Alb is starting to find a little bit more life in his tires, or maybe he's just trying to save ERS and use it where appropriate. All I know is that he was able briefly to maintain about an 8.2 second gap. Now Luke Bailey is able to bring that down a little bit more. Of course, him and Rage Hunter somewhat working together. That is certainly helping them. Not helping Alb at all, but with just 4 laps remaining, I'm starting to think that Luke Bailey's not going to be able to catch Alb. However, with each lap that ticks off, Alb's tires are going to get worse and worse. So he's going to get a little bit slower each time. It could be close. But regardless, I'm with you until the end here as we still continue to watch the battle for second. 6 seconds now, though. 6 seconds between Alb and Luke Bailey. The gap is coming down, and it is coming down fast. 6.1, 6.0, it just keeps dancing around. Let's see what it is at this part of the track in 1 lap time. 6.2 when Luke Bailey comes out of that corner. What's it going to be a lap from now? Let's wait and see. Alb down the front straightaway, but remember, Alb with no DRS. Rage Hunter, though, fighting with Luke Bailey. Rage Hunter's got some DRS. He's not going to be able to get by Luke Bailey, but these two cars more or less are just working together. They're not fighting each other. They're just trying to work together and chase down the leader. Already about half a second in just one sector of the track. And now Maddie is retired from the session, but that is, I do believe, in the pits. So that's not going to be a safety car. That means that we've just got 10 cars remaining in this race and 3 laps to go. .9 seconds the gap now. 4.9. Luke Bailey and Rage Hunter both taking it straight to the wall. Not into the wall, though. Using every bit of racetrack that they are allowed. 4.8, the gap between Alb and Luke Bailey. Rage Hunter, of course, he is more or less sitting pretty. He's exactly where he wants to be. Just chasing Luke Bailey. Like I said, there's no benefit for them to battle each other quite yet. Luke Bailey, 3.8 seconds, 3.7. 3.6 maybe. Remember, it was 6.2 at this part of the track 1 lap ago. Almost 3 seconds, almost 3 full seconds Luke Bailey has gained on Alb in just 1 lap. That means that we could be setting ourselves up for a final lap battle for the lead. Luke Bailey could possibly be staring down the barrel of a win here in Azerbaijan. It's going to be very close. Alb has ran a great race. He has been the fastest car all day long. It's no doubt about it. But sometimes when strategy doesn't go your way, you just have to scratch and claw for whatever you could muster. And that's what Alb has done, restarting on those medium tires. And he had gotten out to a 10-second lead that Luke Bailey has obliterated in the last 4 laps. Those medium tires giving up the ghost. Alb saying not so fast. And you gotta think, if this was a 25-lap race, Alb would maybe stand a chance of winning. But it's a 26-lap race. And it's looking like Luke Bailey is going to be getting by Alb very, very soon. He may not even need the DRS. Alb is very, very slow. He stayed out, and I think that Alb might actually have a puncture. Alb is so slow, I think he might actually have a puncture. If it's not a puncture, something is severely wrong. That or he's just coasting around, trying to save those tires, knowing that he can't win this race. So now it's between Luke Bailey and Rage Hunter with just 2 laps to go. And now I'm just in time, crashing out of the race on just the penultimate lap, right there in the first sector. That's not going to cause a safety car, so no worries there. Now here is something that is going to be big for Luke Bailey. Will he be able to get DRS off of Sonicok? Sonicok is ahead of him. He is a lap car, but will he be able to get the DRS? He does. Luke Bailey got the DRS. That is huge for his chance at this win. 0.8 of a second separating him and Rage Hunter, and this is the final lap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Luke Bailey qualified, I believe, in the 5th position. Let's go ahead and take a look at that really quick here. There you see how many spots that he's changed. 4 spots. He qualified in 5th. He stayed around the top 5 all day long. A few drivers' misfortunes have played into his hands, but at the end of the day, he finds himself leading on the last lap. He got the DRS from Sonicok both times, but now Rage Hunter, who likely was saving that battery, is now chasing him down, trying to get another win. Now Luke Bailey might be able to get DRS off of Sonicok through the final DRS zone, and if he can, that might be all he needs to do. But that's the thing, Luke Bailey needs to stay close to Sonicok, but not actually pass him. Otherwise, he stands risk of losing the lead to Rage Hunter. If he can force Rage Hunter into a DRS train here down the straightaway, then Rage Hunter can't do much at all, if anything. And there you saw just how much. Oh, and Luke Bailey might have just tagged the wall. He might have tagged the wall. No wing damage that I can see, but did he lose a lot of speed there? How much speed did he lose? It's between Luke Bailey and Rage Hunter. It's gonna be a last lap battle, a last straightaway battle. This is for the win of this race. Luke Bailey in the Aston Martin, Rage Hunter in the Haas. Rage Hunter, he's gonna have the DRS, but Luke Bailey, he's going to put every bit of defense that he can. And at the line, it's going to be Luke Bailey in the Aston Martin, winning in Azerbaijan. Rage Hunter, by just 9/100ths of a second, loses the race to Luke Bailey. Calvin in P3, Sander in P4, Alb, a valiant effort, sees him finish in P5. MDJ P6, Mansell P7, Martin P8, Sonicok P9. That is how they're going to finish. There is no battle left on track. Your winner, though, that man right there in the Aston Martin, Luke Bailey. What a terrific job done. We'll talk to Luke Bailey, Rage Hunter, and Calvin Racing here in just a few moments' time. But what an impressive race, and what a great finish. Waiting for Sonicok to finish his lap, then we will hopefully be able to talk to our top 3 drivers. Of course, that's assuming that they do want to talk to us and that they do want their interview. And Sonicok just about to cross the line now. And there you have it. Sonicok, the final finisher, P9. So a decent points day for the boss man. He kept it clean all day, and sometimes it's all you got to do. The winner, Luke Bailey, in the Aston Martin, though, standing on the top spot of the podium. So we'll talk to our top 3 finishers here in just a couple of moments if they want to join and talk to us. But a race that didn't see a lot of battles through the pack, but kept a battle for second pretty much all race long. ends with that driver who was second finishing in first after running down and eliminating a 10-second gap. And your unofficial results for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Azerbaijan Grand Prix, of course, pending any steward inquiries, is Luke Bailey in first, Rage Hunter in second, Calvin in third, Xander in fourth, fifth is Alb, then MDJ in sixth, Mansell in seventh, eighth is Martin, ninth is Sonicok, I'm just in time in 10th, Maddie in 11th, 12th is Cassidy, Caprinicon in 13th. And that's actually it. There's usually more drivers than that, so it threw me for a little bit of a loop there. And it seems as though our top 3 drivers are not able to do the interviews today, so it looks like that is all the time that we have. But thank you, everyone that watched. Thank you to all the drivers that raced with us, and congratulations to our top 3 finishers. And until next time, good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Have fun, and goodbye.